Hi everyone, my name's Paul Gilhooly. I'm one of the VPs here at BrightTALK. Essentially I lead the commercial team responsible for client relationships, and everything that we do is about helping marketers to drive greater engagement and conversion. And the session today I'm going to be really sort of tapping into those two elements. As Andy mentioned, there's actually some releases that I'm going to be touching on that I think really is going to scale the value that our customers are getting. But before I go into those elements around content engagement and understanding buying behavior and certainly being able to identify accounts into that research mode, I wanted to provide a bit of an overview to BrightTALK and specifically how we help with marketers. Because we've done a few of these events, and some of the feedback that we've had is that where we talk a lot about the theory, that actually we've not gone into the details specifically about how we help. So I'm going to touch on that, albeit briefly, and then go into some of the details about the more value-orientated piece around driving greater engagement to your content and then understanding that buying behavior. So BrightTALK, as way of introduction, we're a content and demand marketing platform, and that content and demand story is a good way of thinking about how we can help. Content is all about enabling and empowering our customers to deliver rich content experiences that actually drive conversion. And this can be on a self-service basis or for a managed service as well, actually helping you create content and managing your program. And on the demand side, essentially we're this route to market for our customers where they're leveraging our audience of over 8 million professionals. I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail. So on the content side, like I say, it's all about empowering you to deliver rich content experiences that help you create authentic connections. And we provide both the technologies and services to do that. But at the heart of what we do is really, and underpins everything we do, is the platform, is the BrightTALK channel. So our platform has been specifically built for marketers in mind, enabling them to build a community of prospects to acquire and engage and nurture through their webinar and video content. And essentially this acts as a home for your content, but a destination for your audience. That destination, as we've heard, can be actually BrightTALK when you leverage our audience, but as you've heard some of the examples, and Andy showed you Symantec, that destination can also be your own website where we can drive traffic to, so that's really quite key. But a big part of what we do is BrightTALK Studios and actually helping you create impactful content that aligns to the buying journey. So BrightTALK Studios is our creative strategy and video production arms to the business, and we've got the unique advantage of being able to analyze the buying behavior happening on our platform to really inform the creative solutions that we provide. And then webinar services is where we become an extension to your marketing team and really can help actually, you can really outsource all of the tactical tasks that go into managing a webinar program to free you up to be more strategic. So on this side, it's everything about you getting the most out of your content. And then when we look at demand, as I mentioned, we are this route to market. We have an audience of over 8 million professionals, and you can leverage our audience in a number of different ways. BrightTALK Summits is a range of digital events experiences where you can amplify your brand and your thought leadership, but importantly drive demand at scale. So there's a number of different ways you can do that by actually sponsoring and speaking at our own events. We can actually create fully bespoke branded events that are tailored only and to only your brand. And then there's others where we actually align to physical events where we're actually filming at things like RSA, Info Security Europe, and we're driving an online audience to really protect the spend that you're making at the physical event, guaranteeing you a volume of leads, and then having content that can actually nurture your in-person leads as well. And then we look really on the intent and content lead side, and this for us is where I think Kate was talking about an always-on approach, and for us, a lot of the conversations we have with marketers about what does good demand look like, and a lot of the feedback we get is about consistent, predictable, and scalable sources of demand. And for us, that really comes down to really always understanding who's in market and then driving regular engagement that accelerates pipeline creation. So that's with the intent leads. Like I said, it's about really understanding which accounts are in market so you can actually in a timely manner and deliver a relevant message to improve conversion. And then content leads is where we're driving guaranteed engagement to your content. Like I said, that accelerates those conversations that you can have and create pipeline. So So that's just a bit of an overview in terms of our value proposition and some of the ways we help. And then what I want to talk around this idea of, like I say, driving greater engagement, and then also understanding this buying behavior that can not only inform some and improve maybe some of your content strategy on BrightTALK, but also drive demand in terms of actually how you can identify accounts that are in market. The great thing about these product releases that we're doing, they're all part of the channel license. A lot of times when product releases come out, you're forcing the customer to buy additional products. This is all about just scaling the value that people are already seeing from the platform that they use. So this is really great in terms of when I'm responsible for client relationships, where you can talk about innovation, functionality that does no impact to them as a customer. So for us, Talks is a new way, it's a new functionality, it's a new way to engage your audience. And for us to really talk about the benefit of what will essentially be self-service live video, I think we have to sort of touch on the trends that we're seeing and how consumption behavior has changed. So for us, I think it's some of these messages you would have been aware of. You know, there's a saturation of content. It's absolutely more important than ever for you to be able to create authentic connections and really break through what is, for all of us, a very noisy market. You'll all be very well aware of this idea that buyers are more in control and more informed than ever before. I'm not saying anything new there, but we really believe that this challenge is actually scaling. If you believe sort of Gartner, they report that 40% of deals are actually lost or do not progress due to a failure of engaging the full buying committee. Furthermore, they report that there's now 10 stakeholders involved in that purchasing process. So we know that there's more of them, they're more informed, and their expectations are changing and increasing. We're seeing more and more adoption of live experiences. You can see that in terms of both professional and social networks. Certainly with Facebook Live now being adopted, brands are looking at different ways to connect their audience and differentiate their brand and their message. And it's no reason why, also no surprise why. We know video content, rich media content is a key touch point through the buying journey. We've heard both Barry and Kate sort of talking about that. And that's, I think, there's an expectation now. That's how people want to engage. Cisco report that 80% of web traffic is now streaming content. And of course, that then means marketers are now responding. And each year, we're seeing that adoption grow and grow. And rightly so, with the opportunity available. So BrightTALK has always been a platform for rich media, webinars, and video. But what we're really trying to do is scale the value and empower our customers to be able to deliver different content experiences to their audience that drives the action that they want. From a technology point of view, we're reducing the cost of being able to stream HD live video. Before, that was always a professional services cost. And now for people to be able to do that in a self-service platform is great. We're also not impacting the audience experience. There's no software downloads, plugins, or anything like that needed for either the audience or the presenter. And we're using a lot of, best-of-breed cloud technology to make it really scalable and reliable, where we're, hosting thousands of webinars and live videos on our platform every week. But I think the most important thing is about the use cases. I mentioned everything we do is trying to empower our audiences to deliver their message to their audience in a wealth of different ways that's most important to you. So we feel live video is going to have a great use case and such flexibility in terms of how you deliver an engaging message. But for those that still want to continue to use audio and slides, you can. For those that want to be able to do product demos and screen share, you can. Kate spoke about having flexibility, about pre-recording so you can play out content as and when you need. Because we understand that your speakers and evangelists, just as your target buyers are busy, so are your internal experts. So for us, like I say, it's about empowering our marketers to have a wealth of different options, to deliver different content experiences, but do so in an easy, intuitive way. And one of the things that we get told, and certainly when speaking maybe with the startup community, is that people still sort of start with text-based content. Copywriting is what they're familiar with, and that's what they start with. And then when they see this transition from going from text-based to sort of rich media, a lot of the discussion that we've had today has been about how you can create content, a lot of the effort, whether it be the resources involved or the collateral, the deck itself. We think there's a great way that live video can start to relieve a lot of these burdens and pressures, but still have an authentic way so that you can deliver your message and your brand. So when we look at text-based, so much time, effort, and a lot of time spent goes into white papers, research documents, but we believe not enough effort goes into how you distribute or position that content to drive the best engagement. Sometimes these documents can be a 10-page document, and their motivation to take the time to read these documents might not be so great. So with self-service video, now what you can do is maybe it's a short-form video piece to highlight the key findings of these research documents, and then they can download it. So people are more willing to maybe listen to a 90-second video than maybe they are reading a 10-page document. Or maybe that research document becomes an actual interview with either your expert or maybe the analyst firm that you've done, and you're really discussing the findings of that, but you're doing so as a live interview and bringing the audience into that conversation, enabling them to contribute and have their voice heard. But of course, you're then learning and understanding who's asking these questions and why. But we've seen also a number of different things, even with blogs and newsletters, quite traditional ways in terms of how you deliver a message to your market and your customer base. But we were actually talking with a security vendor who, again, was trying to be quite topical and said they always want to address any breach that's happening in the market, have an opinion on that. And the easiest way they do that was through their blogs, but then they're a bit unsure about how it's being received. So we were discussing the idea that actually that could become a video blog. You can really start to deliver that message and that viewpoint and that opinion and be reactive to these newsworthy stories in your market, but doing so in a very engaging way. But furthermore, you're learning about the engagement, you're measuring that engagement. You can really start to understand how the buyers and prospects are engaging with this content so you can inform this strategy going forward. So for us, there's a wealth of different ways in which you could be using live video. This is just a very simple use case about elevating your existing content to a more engaging and interactive format. But I think live video can be really applied to any campaign, any stage of the buying journey. And as a marketer, you should be looking at different ways to diversify your content and become more interactive and authentic. So on the second side of our launch around insights is really tapping into that demand element. The big reason that many people use our platform is not just because we can do things like live video and these content-rich experiences, but it's because of that audience that we have. We are the only webinar and video platform that has a built-in audience to it, and we can extend your reach. And what we want to do is scale this viewpoint that we are this strategic route to market and start to create more value around that buying behavior that we're seeing on our platform. And I think, to sort of highlight the importance of this and understanding viewing behavior, I always like to sort of show this visualization from Gartner. I've had many conversations about this, that no matter who you are and what resources that you have available, no marketer will ever be able to map any campaign to the full buying journey. It's just not possible. But how effective could you be if you understood this process more? How effective could you be if you understood exactly when research was happening? I think marketing has understood that relevance of message is absolutely key. But it's always been something we've chased about this idea of being able to serve up the right content to the right person at the right time. But with so much data available to us now as marketers, that's actually becoming quite achievable. And I think being timely and then relevant as well with your message can have great benefits in terms of how you scale and improve conversions. And we want to tap into this and start to add more value in terms of that buying behavior that's happening on our platform. And we really differentiate that. These insights ultimately are driven through data. And our audience are coming to BrightTALK because they view us as this knowledge destination, somewhere they go to gain insights, research, and essentially access content that will inform business decisions. But at the core of what we do and how we differentiate is the content formats that we support. A lot of sort of buying behavior is around firmographic data, demographic data, but not enough is around the actual engagement that's happening. So whether it be tracking IP addresses, whether it be content syndication, how do you actually measure the engagement? Do you know if they've read the white paper and how many times? And that's the benefit with rich media and interactive content. The wealth of data that we can analyze is far greater than any other formats. And that gives us just a real good insight to what their behavior looks like. And what we want to do is give a window into this behavior so people can actually see which accounts and importantly, which personas are engaging with the topics that matter most to you. So you can take this on board, look to activate the demand, but also maybe start to inform and optimize your content strategy, certainly on BrightTALK, to better effect. So essentially what that's going to look like is this is an area of our platform, which is going to be called Insights, and it's a self-service tool, which you can then utilize however you see fit to start to identify this behavior. So what you're going to be able to do is essentially search for topics that will typically be aligned to your product category. You're then going to be served up with a whole host of data. You will then be able to actually apply filters to segment that demographic that's most important to you. So company size, maybe do they lead a team, geography, and so on. And then essentially that's going to provide a list of data that's more relevant to you. And you're going to be able to view this data in a few different ways. So there's actually, you're going to be able to see the accounts, the most engaged accounts at any given moment on a daily basis. You're also going to be able to understand those personas. But then we want to just talk about what those use cases are. I think the topics around optimization is key, because what we're going to be able to do through our AI and machine learning assistant, Ada, is start to make some actual topic recommended topics. These are other topics that are associated to all the ones that you've selected that typically people are also engaging with. You can then start applying that to your content on BrightTALK so that you extend your reach or you get a more relevant reach in terms of what you're going after. You can start to use this data to inform and validate your target account lists, which is incredibly important. I don't know if anyone's using Bombora, but there's a whole market out there that is tracking IP address and then a really successful market. But ultimately, what they're providing, we're going to be sharing for free as part of our standard license. And I think that's, when we talk about scaling value, is just incredibly important. But finally, we're also going to be able to enable you to rank and understand your share of voice on our platform. So any given topic, you'll be able to see where you rank in terms of what sort of share of voice that you're claiming around those topics. Are you at the top of the tree or are you below, and how are you comparing to your peers and your competitors? So there's a number of different use cases how this data can be utilized to great effect. And like I say, for us, it's a lot to do about putting our customers in greater control of how they're extracting value from our platform. And to finish, I suppose what I'll highlight is that continued vision that we have here at BrightTALK to put the customer at the core of everything we do and try to empower them more and more from a self-service point of view to be in control of their performance and success with us. So we're bringing together a single customer experience where they're going to be able to manage their content, create content in a wealth of different ways. They'll be able to manage their demand generation campaigns. In a self-service way, you'll be able to assess what your addressable market opportunity is. You're able to then assign a budget to that and generate a guaranteed volume of leads based on your targeting. Furthermore, you'll then be able to gain insights around, like I say, these topics and your share of voice and how you compare with your competitors. Finally, you're going to be able to manage your data in real time as well. So how we connect to the rest of your technology stack, be in control of what data fields are coming across, And like I say, we think that's really enabling us to really differentiate ourselves in the market. We believe no one else is really doing this in terms of certainly rich media and interactive content. But the key thing, like I say, is putting our customers in control of their success with us. If you want a demo or anything like that, then do let us know, but I'll hand back to Andy for...